Hi, fellow seekers, friends, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Okay, Sarah Boone, Sarah Boone, Sarah Boone. Yeah, there's a lot here to unpack, pun intended. But, I can only do what I can do. But I think this is going to be like a Daryl Brooks thing. It's going to be the unfortunate gift that keeps giving. There's just so many, details that I've noted between her and the attorneys and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm like, okay, right now we just got to get to the meat of it, at least me. So we're going to go ahead and go to her testimony that was yesterday. Today, right now, as I am recording this is Wednesday. I believe it's the 23rd. Ooh, is that it? I think it is. Anyhow, this is the day after her testimony. Oh my goodness. It has been, there's so much, I wanted to record. I've only watched bits and pieces of it, but prior to all of this, of course, Mr. Owens had more things he had to do, like go over photos that he was going to enter into evidence, and I think he hadn't even given it to the court clerk yet. That would be a good clip to play, because poor Mr. J is just, and I can't blame him. And even Judge Kranek is like, I've got the jury waiting. I always have the jury waiting. They're so ill prepared. It gets me so exasperated. Sarah exasperates me. And I thought that for some reason, I had the idea in my mind that she was going to do a narrative testimony. But like I said, not going through all of it, but flipping through a little bit of it. No, that's not it. I was kind of hoping she would, although it would be exhausting and long. I think that's what she would have just, I mean, I'm not saying, like I said, I haven't seen all of it, but I feel like she just would have blathered on. Nobody could really say a lot of anything, but we'll just see how it goes. So the the prosecution, they zipped through their people, and I think I shared most of them. The final one, I believe the final person was Detective Chelsea. Oh my gosh, I've heard her name said so many different ways. Capsule. So I might just stick with Detective K. So of course, the two interviews or the interrogations of Sarah were released to the court. And the first one was after the initial call, and I think it was when officer or Deputy Rodriguez, the one that was so kind to her and kept saying, don't panic, but no, you can't go in and get your Dr. Pepper off the counter where your stiff purple boyfriend who gurgled is lying. That's just, I never will get over that in many things. But so the interesting thing is with a car interview, and I got to play that one at some point to you all, share with you all if you haven't heard it, because the one that had been out, there was a part where it cut off, and I think something had happened, so they had to get something else. But the full interview is there, and there are some interesting things there she had said. I can't remember it now, but it'll probably come up. But that one was good. And then, of course, the 2-hour one. I can't even imagine. Of course, they did the suitcase one already. But I'm just like, every time I see that a little over 2-hour interrogation, there's always something I find a new thing. But what gets me is there was nothing there about her as her defense alleged multiple times that she felt pressured. She was not. She was sitting all back there with her list of things. Now, when things started to get, a little tense, she was, I'd say, like I say, she's like a rabid chihuahua. And I don't mean any disrespect to chihuahuas, because I had a chihuahua mix. But you know how they can be. And that's how she was. And the only thing I see about her is that surely, I know she has anxiety. I'm sure of that. And I think more than anything, she just seems so annoyed and put out with everybody because, of course, what is it? She said, I don't think you know who I am. I was a straight A student, an outstanding mother to my child or son. I excel in everything I do. I'm like, oh my God. Like, yeah, okay, sure. That's just, oh my God. She just sounds so entitled and annoying and incredibly guilty, but I'm afraid that, I don't know, I'm anxious. I'm kind of anxious about this. I'm afraid that people are going to like think, oh no, because I know that there's going to be photos. Of course, we're not going to be, we shouldn't be surprised about that. We know. But the thing is that what was it? I got something from hearing Joel from Surviving the Survivor because, they've been covering the whole case and doing a great job and have all kinds of awesome people on there, discussing each day with them. And of course, Joel is in the courtroom and he says what's going on in the courtroom. And he was, the day that they were going to have opening statements, Mr. Owens, and I can't remember if I told you all this or not, so hopefully I won't be too redundant, but Mr. Owens was talking something about he had all of these visual aids that he was not able to use because he didn't have some of the things. It was just a mess. And so that's how I kind of knew about the photos. And I mean, I saw some of them on these big whiteboards, but Joel had said something to the effect of Mr. Owens, I am so sorry because I might keep thinking, have I said this? But there's just so much. Just forgive me if I'm repeating it. He said that Mr. Owens, there was this picture of Sarah in her eye. She had a really black eye. We're going to see stuff, because, the steak knife in the leg. And just also a heads up, too, if any of you all, if it's going to trigger you, just so you know. She triggers me more than anything. But, so there was a couple of things. He had showed the photo of Sarah with a black eye to her, and she had this big smile on her face, kind of like a little smirk. She has a little bit of smirk right there. She's actually waiting for the jury to come in right before she goes up to testify. And he said she just smiled. It was very eerie, like, oh yeah, we got you. Because she's about winning. And I'm a little concerned because I think we're going to hear about her two dogs. One's deaf and one's blind. And allegedly, I heard Mr. Owens say something about, this is when they did their opening statements, about, because Judge Cranick said, what is significant of Miss Boone sitting on the patio with two dogs? And then Mr. Owens says, well, George abused the dogs. But that's so interesting. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't. If he did, I'm angry, because anybody who messes with our furry friends pisses me off. But in both of the interrogations from the detective, Sarah talked about him dancing with the dogs. He loves the dogs. And it was a good day. And, no one put a hand on the other. Next thing you know, she's pulling a Kathy Bates from Misery from that movie way back with her baseball bat. And it's just, I can't even, sometimes I just have to pause. So I'm afraid we're going to hear about the dogs, and I don't like that. But, and see what, of course, you've probably watched all this by now already. But anyhow, the defense is still trying to get in the self-defense and the battered spouse thing, and then an overt act was taken. And so, in other words, what is it? A scintilla. All you need is a scintilla of that to be able to use self-defense and battered spouse. So after she gives her testimony, I guess they will figure that out. And was there anything else? No, I'll probably just, and of course, excuse me, yesterday, I know that the coroner who did the autopsy on George was there, and there was some other people, and that was pretty interesting. So at some point, of course, I will go over that, but I just figured let's hit the meat of it. And before we start here, let me just, if you are new here, I hope that you find this a warm, welcoming place. It's very laid back. I'm just a one-person show, so it's, technically challenged and all of that good stuff. But the important thing is I'm not a lawyer, paralegal, psychologist, psychiatrist. I am just a person who, for whatever reason, stumbled onto true crime not that long ago, a few years back, and I'm addicted to it now. But most importantly, I really love to see justice for the victims and their family, like George and his family. And, we're going to probably find some things out about George that we're not going to like, but at the end of the day, the way I look at it is, she's the one alive. He's not, so there we go. All right. Let's get on with it.
State, do you recognize our jury?
Yep, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury? All right, thank you. Y'all can be seated. Members of the jury, after seated and comfortable, if you could raise your hands to confirm that you complied with the court's instructions during the break. Record reflect all hands have been raised. With that, the state has rested. The defense is going to put on a case. Defense, Mr. Owens, you can call your first witness.
A case or a suitcase?
Defense would call Sarah Boone.
Don't you know, she is just loving this. This is her Hollywood moment. I'm so sorry, guys. I can't stand this woman. Just can't.
I do.
All right, ma'am, you can take a seat. And if you could, state and spell your name for the record for us.
Sarah Boone, 101077.
And could you spell your name?
SARAHBOONE.
All right, thank you very much. Sir.
Okay, already. I'm just going to say it. Can you tell? She's using that little voice like she'd use in court, that little soft-spoken voice, instead of like what she was doing with the detectives. I don't think you know who I am. It was not intentional. We had a good day. Puzzles and paints and hide and seek, which has forever ruined the game for children and adults alike. Anyhow, I already noticed this right off. She's going to have that little voice and look, I think she's going to look, demure and just, very, okay. Okay, here we go.
Sir, you may inquire.
Ms. Boone, would you please tell the jury where you were born and raised?
Atlanta, Georgia.
You were born in Atlanta?
I was born in Atlanta.
And how long did you stay in Atlanta before you moved here to Florida?
I was 3 years old, 3 or 4.
Okay. And from that time, y'all moved, you and your family, your mother and father, moved to Orlando?
And my grandparents.
Okay. Y'all all moved down from Atlanta down to Orlando?
Yes, and my 2 brothers.
Okay. And were you raised here essentially from that time on?
Yes.
And you resided here in Orange County, Florida that entire time?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you go to high school here locally?
I did.
Where did you go to high school?
Edgewater.
Okay. And tell the jury, how old were you when you graduated?
I was 18 years old.
Now, I know you lost your mother and father.
Overruled.
I know you lost your mother and father in your teens and in your 20s. Is that true?
I lost my grandfather when I was a sophomore in high school, and I lost my father when I was a senior. And then my mother passed away a few years after that, and then my grandmother passed away after my mother died.
All right, so you were in your 20s when all that was going on?
Yes.
Okay. And then at some point in your 20s, you met Brian Boone?
I did, yes.
All right. And how long did y'all date before you married?
A good handful of years. I helped my family with paying mortgage and bills for the house since my father had passed away and my grandfather. So
you worked outside the home?
I did.
Okay. Can you tell the jury when you said you and Brian Boone dated for a while? Do you remember when y'all married?
I do.
Could you tell the jury when y'all were married?
The year?
Yeah. You remember the date?
It happened to be, yes, that after my mother passed away, that he had waited to ask me to marry him because he knew it would be,
Sustained.
Just answer the question if you can. Miss Boone. Are you a little bit nervous?
a little bit.
Okay. Well, just
Not
tell the
that
jury
nervous.
if you remember the
Yeah,
date that
she's
you and
loving
Brian
it.
Boone married.
August 21st, 2004.
Okay. And had y'all lived with each other for a short time before that?
Short time.
Yes. Okay. After you married, how long was it before y'all had any children?
Gosh, 6 years?
Okay. And y'all have one son.
Yes.
What's his name?
Lucas.
And how old is Lucas now?
Lucas will be 14 years old on the 28th.
28th of this month?
Yes.
So you and Brian were married, and y'all lived in Orange County. How long were y'all married?
13 years.
All right, and y'all divorced?
Yes.
And as part of the divorce, were y'all to share custody of your son?
Yes.
And so y'all would split days? Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
At some time after you and Brian split up, did you meet George
Who's she looking
Torres?
Yes.
All right, could you tell the jury how you met George Torres?
I met George when I decided to buck up, I guess, and was tired of trying to patch things up with my ex-husband. And I decided to go one day for a walk across the street and go have a beer by myself and sit and people watch just to get out of my house and a change of scenery.
All right, now is this your apartment?
No, this is the marital home.
Okay. Where is that marital home?
Winter Park?
You're no longer living in that marital home?
No.
Who lives in the marital home?
No one. It has been sold.
Okay. So you met George Torres before you got the apartment?
Yes.
Okay. And you met him at a bar across the street from the marital home?
Yes, we had a mutual friend there.
Were you introduced?
Yes.
All right. How did you and George get along when y'all first met?
Very well. It was strange how quickly we hit things off and had so much in common, and I never thought that he would be interested in someone like me, and I just couldn't believe that he was actually interested in me and said a lot of nice things, and 1 hour ended up being 4 hours from when we had first met, and then we would always have something to talk about.
Why couldn't you believe that he would be interested in you?
He was very handsome. He was very funny. He was smart, and I would show up and...
What? Smart? Come on. The way she depicted him or their relationship in all the interviews is that she was the one, who kept him busy and with puzzles and paints, which sounds so freaking childish and so weird, but far be it for me to judge, right? But I mean, she acts like, she's his caregiver, and this is I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. I'm not buying this.
Workout clothes and disheveled hair, and
Disheveled hair.
I guess I kind of felt broken from being in the process of a divorce that he knew about. But then one of the things that we could relate also was the fact that he was here in Florida because he had just been divorced from his second wife. So that was another topic that he and I could compare notes on.
So eventually the divorce was settled. Did you get your own place?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that after at first you lived in your parents' home, correct?
Yes, until I was married.
And then you moved directly in with Brian.
Yes.
And then y'all lived in the marital home, correct?
Yes.
And then you got this apartment.
Yes.
So that was the first time in your life that you actually had your own place.
Yes.
And what was the address?
4748 France Court, apartment number 3.
And what city is that in?
It's in Water Park.
How far is that from here?
20 minutes.
Okay. So you got that apartment, and initially were you by yourself?
No.
All right, tell the jury.
In the almost year, about 10 months of separation from Brian, my ex-husband, that is the time when I met George. And my ex-husband was trying to buy me out or force me out of our marital home, and I needed to find somewhere to live. And
So did you and George agree to rent the apartment?
yes, I needed extra income. We could not afford it just on my own.
You were receiving some income from the marriage settlement, were you not?
Yes.
So you
Alimony.
did have consistent monthly income coming in from the marriage settlement,
For the most part, yes.
but you needed more to live.
Yes, to pay the bills and for rent.
So did you and George have some agreement?
We did.
All right, what was the agreement?
The agreement was that if I decided for he and I to live with one another, because it would be under my name, that he would help with the monthly bills and on a regular basis, where it wouldn't be something that I would have to argue with him about. It would just be an automatic. Make sure that everything's paid first, and then from there, hopefully have some fun with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we
I
know what you did
understand
with
from
it.
that point on, would it be fair to say that y'all saw each other on and off for about the next 3.5 years?
No, I would consider us a couple. At some point, he asked me to marry him.
Okay. But y'all did have times where he left and went to live with his parents.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
And there were times where there was an understanding that y'all were going to break up.
Multiple times.
Okay. All right. So, again, on again, off again.
Yes. This was actually before we had our apartment. That was, I guess, our dating phase.
Okay. So y'all were together for 3.5 years. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And y'all had actually agreed to marry?
He had asked me yes a couple of times to marry him, and one time I agreed to yes.
Okay. Now, I want to get directly to the date of this event so that the jury can hear
Event.
your testimony. All right. So tell us, I believe the date is February the 23rd of 2020. Explain to the jury that whole day, from the time y'all got up, the whole thing.
Oh, God.
Approach.
Who is she looking at? I wonder what the jury thinks of her doing all that smiling and moving around and chatting up with the attorneys. I mean, oh my God, I'm so biased though. I just wonder what the jury thinks. That woman, we need to do something for her, because she's had to deal with Sarah and her shenanigans. And Sarah always looks so, and the lady's like, no, get the hell out of here. And she needs to look, I'm going to need for Sarah to look
Objections
more
overruled
somber.
for now.
Now, Ms. Boone, let's just, instead of one long speech, let me break you up over the course of the day.
I gotta love James
Do
Owens
you
for that.
remember the date of February 23rd, 2020?
Yes.
Do you remember getting up?
Yes.
All right, just tell the jury about that morning. What y'all did that morning. What you and George spent the night together at the apartment.
Yes, at that point he was living there.
Yes. So y'all slept in the bed together, upstairs,
Do we need to know all that?
February So you would have gotten up, y'all would have gotten up that morning, February 23rd of 2020.
Yes.
All right, tell the jury what happened when y'all got up.
He was already downstairs, and I went downstairs, and he wanted to start the day off by drinking because it was a day off from his job. And I talked him into cleaning and tidying up the house for a sense of accomplishment. So that is what we did for however long that it took. So we did tidy up the house and got everything in order, and it was kind of a reward, I guess, to be able to sit and enjoy ourselves and sit on the back porch.
All right, what do you mean by cleaning up the house? What did y'all do?
We swept and mopped. We folded some of the laundry. I know that we did the dishes, emptied the dishwasher, just general run-of-the-mill tidying up.
And did you have your son coming the next day?
Yes, that was one of the reasons why we were able to do that.
What was the arrangement you had in terms of the next day would have been your day to pick up your son from school?
Yes.
What time would you pick Lucas up from school the next day?
I believe his school ended at 3 o'clock.
Okay. So you would have been responsible to pick him up, and he would be spending the night with you that night?
Yes.
So you wanted to have the house nice and clean?
Yes.
How many bedrooms are in the home?
2.
And you and George had one bedroom?
Yes.
And who had the other?
Lucas.
All right. Is that exclusively his bedroom?
Yes.
All right. So how long would it have taken y'all that morning to clean?
I don't really remember what time we woke up, but maybe a good 2, maybe 3 hours.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that you and George both smoked cigarettes?
Yes.
And would it be fair to say that you and George both drink alcohol?
Yes.
All right. So at some point, y'all finished your chores,
Yes.
right? And then y'all were going to enjoy the day.
Yes.
All right. What was the plan?
It was just kind of, we've got the day to ourselves. Let's just kind of relax and go with the flow.
All right. Did y'all make a decision that y'all were going to start drinking?
Yes, we had half of a bottle that was already in the refrigerator, and I did not want to go out afterwards. I, again, had Lucas coming the next day, so we went over to Publix to purchase another bottle of wine. So we could not have to go out later on that evening.
Now, you were here in court when the state played the video of you two and the Publix purchasing the bottle of wine?
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to here with the jury right now?
Yes.
Okay. And that...
Yeah, see, they showed that also. And I don't think that was on my last video. But it was interesting because she did not say that she went out. She just said it was George. But then there she was. There she was in the Publix. I don't know why she would lie about that, but she lies about a lot of things.
That was around noonish?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Had y'all started drinking the leftover bottle before going to the Publix?
No.
Okay. So, y'all bought a bottle of wine?
Yes.
All right. And how did y'all get to Publix?
My car.
How far is Publix from your apartment?
5 minutes.
How would you get there from your apartment?
What do you mean?
Did you have to go across any major highways, or is it right there?
You just come out of our apartment complex and you do a little
Right.
U-turn and then you come up and it's right in that complex.
Okay. But it's easier to drive than to walk?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know that sometimes y'all would simply need cigarettes and it was in walking distance. Can you tell the jury about that?
Yes, there was a AutoZone convenience store with, in the same, I guess, parking lot of our townhome, our complex, and it was just a straight shot from our apartment to a back gate, and you could get right into the convenience store from right there.
Okay. But y'all went over to get that bottle of wine around noonish, and how did you took your car?
Yes,
Did George have a vehicle?
we did not.
And how did you pay for the wine?
With my debit card.
And then y'all came back and started drinking?
Yes.
Okay, tell us what you did when you got back from the Publix.
Just went on the back porch where we usually spend our time because we're able to smoke cigarettes outside as opposed to inside. And
Is cigarette smoking not allowed indoors?
it's not.
Okay. Do you have pets?
Yes, I do.
Well, did you have pets?
I did, yes.
Okay.
No, the dogs. Oh,
Were they
Figures.
with y'all there that day?
Yes, my dogs were with me all the time when I was there.
How many dogs do you have?
I have 2,
And just what are their names?
Penny and Tess.
And what is the breed?
They are red Boston Terriers.
And are they both disabled?
Yes, Penny is blind and Tess is deaf.
So when y'all went out to smoke on the back porch and drink, I assume, as well, correct?
Yes.
Did y'all take the dogs out?
Oh, yes.
All right. Is there a place for them to do their business out there?
Yes, I extended our back porch for them to have a little bit of area as opposed to going from a large backyard from my marital home to our little townhome. And they would come out there and do their business, and I could sometimes I would open the gate and then walk them in the back part of our apartment.
So you and George were just going to enjoy the day together?
Correct.
Is it fair to say y'all don't have a lot of money?
Yes.
And so y'all were going to do something there in the home? Y'all weren't going out for dinner or...
Yes, we primarily, I would consider us homebodies as opposed to going out and partying and doing this and that.
Okay. And how long do you think y'all were out that afternoon outside?
A few hours.
All right. Could you tell the jury what y'all did during that time?
We have a dartboard that's out there, and we just had drinks, and we're just really enjoying each other's company and talking about, things upcoming. We both were looking for a job, and just kind of, I guess, encouraging and supporting and planning. And
Well, now you said he had a job. Was he looking for a job, a second job?
no, the job that he had was very unstable, and at that,
So he was looking for something new.
yes, at that time, yes.
Okay. And so during that 2 or 3 hours, would it be fair to say that y'all drank the bottle?
Yes,
Okay. So would it be fair to say that y'all were feeling the effects of the alcohol?
yes,
Okay. At some point, who made the decision to come in?
I did.
Okay. Why did you want to come in?
I felt that George needed a change of scenery.
Okay. So y'all came in, and then
maybe he didn't want it.
did y'all do anything else before he left again? Were y'all doing anything? I know y'all did some arts and crafts. What did y'all do? At some point, he went to get another bottle at Publix.
Yes, after, I believe it was after it was right before I believe that we had gone inside, because he called his daughters. I was trying to encourage him to call his family.
Okay, now where are his daughters?
Yeah, sure you were.
His 2 daughters are located in Pennsylvania,
And what are their names?
Anna and Destiny.
And how old are they?
I believe that Anna is in her 30s, and Destiny may be in her early 20s.
All right. Does he have any more children?
Yes, he has a son.
And where is his son?
He is in Pennsylvania also.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Did she say that? I thought George was only like 42. Okay, the one in the 20s, I can get that, but Anna is in her 30s? How old was George when he fathered Anna? What? Okay.
So part of that afternoon is y'all came in to call relatives, call family.
No, I had him call outside, just trying to, I guess, boost the mood, and The first daughter didn't answer, and I don't remember the reason I didn't speak to the second one. I believe he did. It was just for a moment.
All right, now whose phone were y'all using?
My phone.
All right. And is that common for y'all to use that, for y'all to share that phone?
It was because George said that he didn't have a phone, so it would either be lost or given to him by his mother. So I didn't know he had a cell phone, so we would use my phone.
So it was primarily your phone?
Yes.
Okay. And you took a lot of photographs that were on that phone?
Yes.
Videotapes?
Yes.
Text messages?
Yes.
Phone call?
Yes. He and I both on the phone calls.
So he would use it as well?
Yes.
And that phone, is that the one that was seized in this case?
Yes.
All right, so y'all called his daughters, and then during that phone call period, did y'all also call his brother?
Yes.
Okay, and which brother was that?
John.
All right, now, how many brothers and sisters does George have?
I'm gonna list them if that's okay.
Okay.
It's John, Pharrell, Isaac, Mo, and his sister.
Okay. And do they all live here in Florida?
Yes.
Are they close by?
As far as I know, yes.
What about his parents?
Yes.
They live here as well?
Yes.
Okay. But his ex-wives and his children live up in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Okay. So you called the girls, then you called, or George called his brother.
Yes.
Was that conversation that long?
No, it was not.
Okay.
Yeah, because you yelled and said you needed
And
to
then
call your
after
brother.
that phone call, were y'all inside by this time?
Yes, at this point, I believe that it was a good time to get a change of scenery. So I thought George would be better off inside, and frankly, I didn't want to be outside any longer either.
Okay.
She sounds like George is a freaking invalid. That just tells me a lot of control. She has the phone, she has the vehicle, and George has, oh my God, George needs a change of scenery. And I'm sure they were mostly living off of Brian's alimony that she was complaining about in one of her infamous letters.
So just to get an idea, about this time is when he went to get the second bottle, or did y'all stay inside for a while before he left?
No, from what I recall, it was, I thought the day was over, and it was going to be, get ready for the evening, for the day, what do you want for dinner, do you have an extra load of laundry that you need to throw in, kind of thing, and that was my understanding, and
This was about 5-ish or something?
I don't remember the time.
Okay. At some point during that time period, did George go to Publix again?
Yes, I thought he was going to be walking to the convenience store, but apparently when he returned, he had gone across the street with my car and my debit card to buy another bottle of wine.
What was your understanding of where he was going?
To the convenience store, walking.
For what?
Cigarettes.
Okay. And you learned obviously that he came back, and you learned that he'd used your vehicle?
Yes.
And he'd used your debit card?
Yes.
And he brought back a bottle of wine from Publix?
Right.
And you saw the Publix video of that?
Yes.
So he comes back with the other bottle of wine, and did he want you to drink with him?
It was expected, yes.
Yes. And you agreed to consume the second bottle with him?
Yes.
Okay. So over the course of that evening, drinking the wine, what did y'all do for time-wise? Watch a movie, music? Just kind of tell the jury what you remember. I know it's obviously been a while, but...
It was kind of a regular thing where I would always try to come up with entertaining activities for George, and
God, she acts in entertaining activities. She acts like they live in a nursing home, or what do we call it again? You know what I'm saying. the old folks home. What is she talking about? This sounds ridiculous. I might have punched her too. No, I really wouldn't have. I really wouldn't have. That was bad. That y'all have to forgive me. That's my dark humor. But it just sounds so. Oh my gosh. Okay, I just can't.
For I bought a puzzle. We started off.
Yeah, we know.
At one point, doing a smaller puzzle, and then we did that very quickly. So then I purchased a larger puzzle, and I believe it was 1,000 pieces. So I thought to get his mind off of things and to focus on something, it would be smart for us to do the puzzle. So for however long that took, we finished the puzzle. So that was one.
Did you every piece was finished, or was it?
Every piece was finished. It was strange that we couldn't find one piece, and we thought it was funny that it was like in like the perfect place on there. But yes, every one but one piece.
All right. After the puzzle, what did y'all do?
I decided to continue to maintain and focus him, and I have a bunch of paints that I used of my son's that his grandmother bought him. It's a very big art wooden box, and it's got pastels, pencils, paint, any kind of whatever. And he and I were very much into art, and with this resource, it got him very interested in being more creative.
How long have you been into art?
Ever since I can remember. As a child,
You like to draw?
I didn't like to do anything artistic.
And I know, we saw some of the pictures of your apartment, but it looks like there was pictures and artwork up. Is that all your work and George's work?
The majority of it, yes, are belongings from my home, and then also some of George's, yes, on the wall.
Was he pretty good at art as well?
Yes,
All right, so you both enjoyed doing that.
very much.
So y'all got out Lucas's art set. What did y'all do with that?
We were just, I guess, doodling, whatever. I would always tell him that everything that you make is a masterpiece. So just let loose and just let it go. And we would just paint and, paint and drink, yes, and listen to music sometimes, and yes.
Okay. Now, with the dogs, did y'all get the dogs involved?
Oh, yes, my dogs follow me everywhere, yes.
Was there some dancing going on with the dogs?
Yes, after we had completed the puzzle and I guess we're painted out, I thought that it might be a good point for us to maybe listen to some music. And the music that George listens to is it's very fractious to me, and it's definitely not going to lighten the mood. So we ended up finding some channel on the radio, and he was feeling it. And then we ended up, my one dog gets very active and was dancing with us, and we were just having a good time listening to music.
And I guess it's getting pretty late in the evening.
Yes.
Anything else I've missed?
I don't believe so.
All right. So tell us where y'all ended up before you started the game of hide and seek.
We were there. I couldn't think of anything else possibly that I had to continue entertainment. But I remember sitting at the end of the couch and him sitting in one of my son's chairs that was in the living room, and just kind of doing this. Like, what are we going to do now? Like, I very much would like to go to sleep.
Had y'all finished off the that bottle that he had bought?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Bless you.
Would it be fair to say that as the day wore on, the more y'all consumed?
Yes.
And would it be fair to say that as the day wore on, the more you consumed, the more effects you felt from the alcohol?
Of course, yes.
Both of you?
Yes.
Okay. So you would agree, would you not, that at the time y'all were trying to figure out something to do and you put your head down on the couch, that would it be fair to say that y'all were intoxicated?
Yes.
Tell the jury what happened.
At one point, I guess he knew that I couldn't come up with anything else, tapped me on my knee and said, "You're it." so from there, I ran up the stairs and hid into.
Wait a minute, that's
our
tag
shadow.
though. Maybe I already said this before. Tag, they're combining tag and hide and seek. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Shower, just waiting for him to find me so we could hopefully go to sleep soon at some point. And
And your shower, is it a tub or just a walk-in?
it's a tub, but it's in the master bedroom, and you have to go all the way upstairs. You have to go in the bedroom, and then you have to go into the bathroom part, and then there's the shower part.
So did you lay down in the tub?
At one point, yes, I was.
Okay. So you were hiding.
I was trying.
Okay. And did you believe that he was going to come try to
So
find you?
embarrassed for them.
Yes.
Did you wait?
Yes, for quite some time.
All right. Then what did you decide to do?
That I decided that I need to go to sleep. I'm picking my son up the next day, and we need to start wrapping up the evening. And I went downstairs to find where he was.
And what? I think the jury has seen pictures of your. Would you call it an apartment or
It's considered a townhome.
a townhome? So you walk down the stairs, right? Mm-hmm. And at the bottom of the stairs is a bookshelf here?
Yes, at the very end of it, yes.
Okay. So you walk down the stairs and you turn and look in the living room. What did you see?
I don't even think I made it all the way down the stairwell because I was just looking for him as soon as I could to hopefully go upstairs as soon as we could. And I looked over and I saw him settling himself in the suitcase.
All right, tell us about the suitcase. How long? Was it an older suitcase?
Yes.
Whose suitcase was it?
This is George's suitcase.
All right, and did he use it for traveling back and forth to Philly?
Yes, I had recently taken him on a trip to go see his children in Pennsylvania, who he hasn't seen in years, and we took that with us. And because of how dilapidated it was, how broken it was, in the end, after that trip, we decided that we would donate it.
All right, and I understand y'all kept the suitcase upstairs.
Yes,
How long did y'all keep it upstairs?
since we had moved in.
Oh. Is there a closet up there you kept it in?
Yes, it was in the master closet, the master bedroom closet, all the way in the back because of the size of it, and there was nowhere to put it, so it's all the way in the back.
So when did y'all decide to move it down from upstairs to downstairs? Was it that day or sometime earlier?
No, it was maybe a week or so prior.
Okay. And so what, y'all were going to donate that to Goodwill, or?
Yes, we were going to do, I guess, a spring cleaning. Anyone who has children understands that they grow quickly, and there was a lot of clothes that I needed to go through of my son's, and then also from George and I moving in and just kind of putting everything in there, at one point where we just needed to actually go through it and organize it and get things more in order.
So is that the reason it was downstairs? You were going to donate it and a bunch of things that you were going to put inside of it?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So it had been down there a week, so it was already down there?
Yes, George brought it down.
Okay. So you said that you got down there, you're looking for him, you see him settling into the suitcase.
Yes.
What did you do?
In my head, I said, oh man, we're obviously not going to be going to sleep anytime soon. And I walked over and he was trying to get himself flat, so I couldn't tell that he was in there. And then
Now let me stop you there. The suitcase, is it the suitcase over here in the
yes,
box? You've seen it, you saw it.
yes,
It's a pretty big suitcase.
yes.
How
No,
big
it's
is
not.
George was my height, and
How tall are you?
I'm 5'3".
Okay. And how much did George weigh?
I thought it was 100 pounds.
Okay. And how much did you weigh?
I was 98 pounds.
All right. Do you agree you put on some weight?
Since I've been incarcerated, yes.
Well, at the time, though, y'all were pretty skinny.
Yes.
So from the pictures, it looks like y'all were both pretty thin.
Yes.
All right. So because of his thinness, Is that how? And he's a small man.
Yes.
Okay. So he was able to get in the suitcase on his own.
Yes.
Did he willingly get in the suitcase?
He was already in there.
Okay. When you got to him, did he see you?
Yes.
All right. Tell us what happened.
I mean, I just I zipped him up. We thought it was funny, and we're joking about how he was, I guess, small enough to fit inside of the suitcase.
All right. So what happened then?
From there, it was just we were laughing about it, and it was just strange that he was small enough to fit in there. And then I kind of moved it around a little bit with him in the suitcase still. It was still funny that he was still in the suitcase. Just, I think he and I were just kind of couldn't believe that he could fit in the suitcase.
Did you eventually close the top?
Yes, the top was already closed. As he was settling himself in there, that's how I knew he was in there, was because the top was kind of flopping a little bit.
Okay. So he had gotten in there to hide, and he pulled the top.
Yes.
On top of it. But you could tell he was in there.
Yes.
You saw him right away.
Yes.
All right. So at some point, did you zip him up?
Yes.
And what was he saying or doing when you were zipping him up?
We just thought it was funny.
Were you both laughing?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so you zipped him up. Were y'all still laughing once you zipped him up?
Yes.
Tell the jury what happened then.
From there, I moved the suitcase around a couple of times, just kind of on the wheels, and moved it around. And at that point, it was funny. We were joking and laughing about it.
All right, now, eventually, did you go sit down on the couch and get your phone?
Yes.
Missed something?
The suitcase had, from me moving it around, was flopped over. So while it was like that, I thought at that point I had a moment to, I guess, take the time to talk to him while I guess he was not able to get out for a moment.
So you flipped it. You got it on the top, right?
Yeah.
He gets in, but at some point you flip it over so the zipper is on the bottom.
Well, it was just kind of how I was moving it around that it ended up kind of flopping, so...
It was upside down?
Yes.
So after you did that, what did you do?
That's when I went over and decided to videotape to just see the jest in it, for him to understand that right now I feel safe, and right now I have the ability to actually speak to you in a manner that normally I would not have the ability to do.
To give him in a
You were intoxicated.
suitcase to listen to you?
You would agree that you said some things you should not have.
Yes.
But you realized he could not get out and get at you. Is that fair?
At that moment, yes.
So it goes on for about 10 minutes.
Yes.
You heard it here today, did you not?
Yes.
You heard his voice as he was speaking from the suitcase.
Yes.
That was his voice on the video and audio.
Yes.
And you heard your voice on the video and audio.
Yes.
That was your voice.
Yes.
All those things said by the man were said by George in that 2-minute video.
Correct.
All the words said by the female were said by you in that 2-minute video.
Correct.
Were you intending on showing him the video the next day?
Yes.
At the time, or the next day, is it fair to say you don't even remember a videotape?
I do not.
So, from what you can tell from watching it, did that refresh your memory about that event?
It did.
Why did you say all that?
Well, you see, oh my gosh. I mean, she sounds, pretty good. Not off the chain, really, but I think Mr. Owens is trying to rein her in tight a little bit. Because she could end up going on and on and on, but my goodness. Why would she be smiling like that while she's talking about her boyfriend, whom she loved? And if she's trying to say she had him in a position in the suitcase, so hopefully he would hear, I guess, what she was saying. And that's a terrible way to try to say it. And how does it fit into her saying that she planned on showing it to him the next morning, but then she didn't remember doing it? That doesn't make any sense to me. I have many things I want to know the answers to. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. But I mean, she's supposed to be talking about something very serious, where someone whom she loved supposedly has expired, and she has suffered traumatic situations in which she's, oh my gosh, yeah. Does nobody else, oh my goodness, I can't stand how she's smiling like that. See, to me, if I was a jury, but see, I know I'm so biased. If I had come in not knowing all that we know, maybe I'll look at it differently, but I don't think so. I think she's pretty comfortable up there. What do y'all think? Okay, it's taking him a long time. Smirking Sarah. Oh my goodness. I can't with her.
Mr. Owens, you may proceed.
All right, I'm talking about just the 2-minute video part that was recorded. Could you just tell the jury what you were feeling, what your feelings were at the time, and then explain that to the jury? You talked about it before. You said he was in that confined space and it was my chance, but do you want to elaborate on that? Or?
Sure. I want you all to know that the majority of the time, am always afraid and always scared.
All right, well, I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. But would it be fair to say that you had some anger at that point?
I did.
Would it be fair to say that you wanted to tell him off to some degree?
I just wanted, yes, for him to have a better understanding, which was the whole point of the videos and documentation prior.
And you could tell that he was uncomfortable.
I'm guessing.
And did you want him to feel some uncomfort?
I did.
Okay.
Uncomfort? Is that a word? Uncomfort?
Now, at some point, you turned off the video.
Yes.
And then we saw a second video, which was approximately 11 minutes later. And you've seen that video that was played to the jury. It was 22 seconds long.
Yes.
And I don't think you speak in that video. You hear George say Sarah one time.
Yes.
Is that fair to say?
Yes.
So between the 2-minute video and the 22-second video is an 11-minute period. Would you tell the jury what happened?
We continued to, I guess, speak to one another, and
No. I'm not buying it.
The tone changed, and I knew the tone, and we ended up, I guess, arguing back and forth with one another, and it was the things that he was saying very much frightened me, and cursing at me and threatening me. And
Did he want you to let him out of the suitcase?
I'm sure so.
Please.
Tell me.
I would say so.
It got very heated very quickly, and he continued to push on the suitcase. And my fear was that he was going to break out of the suitcase, knowing that it was a broken suitcase.
Why didn't you just run out the door then? Why didn't you call
his
somebody?
Hand started to come through. His hand started to come through this way. And so I shook the suitcase, trying to get his hand to go back in, shaking it, and telling him that, please stop doing this. Please stop doing this to me. Please stop doing this to me.
So his hand actually got out of the suitcase.
Yes.
And you went to the...
Come on. Why would you... Uh-oh. I lost something here, but I'll get it. Why would she say, please stop doing this to me, as she's towering over the suitcase that he zipped in? I don't know. I know I'm biased, but that just seems like the stupidest thing ever. And he wouldn't have enough air to be cursing her out and sounding angry. I think she's very angry. You can tell it. I mean, say one little thing to her and she's, oh my gosh. Okay, I got to get this back up so we can hear whether crap she's going to feed us. Okay, it's back on. Hopefully it is around the right place.
And it got very heated very quickly, and he continued to push on the suitcase. And my fear was that he was going to break out of the suitcase, knowing that it was a broken suitcase. And his hand started to come through. His hand started to come through this way. And so I shook the suitcase, trying to get his hand to go back in, shaking it, and telling him that, please stop doing this. Please stop doing this to me. Please stop doing this to me.
So his hand actually got out of the suitcase.
Yes.
And you went to the suitcase.
Yes.
And shook it.
Yes.
Did that force his hand to go back in?
No.
So you're shaking it. Were you shaking it to try to get the suitcase, his hand back in?
Yes.
How long did you shake it?
I don't know.
But his hand was still out.
Yes.
Was he trying to get out?
Forcefully, yes.
Was he angry at you?
Yes.
Were you in fear?
Always.
If he would have gotten out of the suitcase, what would he have done to you?
Like he used to tell me, he probably would have made me unrecognizable, or I would have lost my life.
Did you lose the grip on the suitcase?
Yes.
Where was the bat in relation to the suitcase?
It was leaning up against the dining room table, right there.
How far was the bat from the suitcase?
3 feet, 2 feet.
Was his hand still out of the suitcase?
Yes.
And was he getting out of the suitcase?
He very much was trying, yes.
And so what did you do?
For the split-second reaction that I had, I happened to see that, and I grabbed the baseball bat and was trying to poke his hand to go back in, to please don't break through, please. So I hit his hand.
Did you hit the outside part of his hand?
Yes.
We've seen the photographs of his left hand. Did you cause the bruising there?
I'm guessing yes.
Now, you've seen the bat. It's a youth bat.
Yes, I bought it for my son.
Is this the bat you used?
Yes.
And you said you poked him with it?
Yes, I kind of Like I held it with the skinny part here, and then
So the grip here,
prodded at it. Yes.
you grabbed it with both hands here,
Yes.
and then the barrel of the bat, the big part of the bat is here.
Correct.
And you thrusted it into the different areas of the suitcase?
I started with his hand, and his hand, he was still trying to get out. He was still trying to do that. So I started to push on the suitcase around it, hoping to have his hand retract and go back inside.
Okay, I have another question. I thought she was supposed to be so angry by him. See, none of this is matching because in her other testimony, she was supposed to be so angry of him calling out, and it triggered something in her, hearing him call out, and that's when she caused injury to him. But see, and I think Mr. Owens is trying to make her seem angrier. I mean, she probably was, but I'm saying I don't think she likes to look bad, even though she does. But she's, since she is so perfect as she thinks she is, she is like, I was poking it, and I'm like, come on, no. See, the sequence isn't even right. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I don't buy it. I hope they don't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense because that's it. At least get your stories right. And of course, that empty period in between the two recordings, Sarah's the only one who can vouch for it. That makes it mighty nice for her, doesn't it? Oh my gosh, guys.
You made those injuries.
I did.
We've seen the photographs.
Yes.
We see the bruising. Is that from that bat?
Yes.
Eventually, did his hand go back inside from you doing?
Yes. Finally, he had subsided and retracted his hand.
So in your mind, did you prevent him from attacking you?
Absolutely. Split-second decision.
Now, once he retracted his hand, do you remember zipping it up some, or what did you do in relation? Because he was upside down, was he not, at that point?
Yes.
At some point, you flipped him back up.
I did.
Tell how that happened.
He wasn't cursing. He wasn't threatening. His hand was inside foremost. There was no more of him trying to break through the suitcase.
Oh, yeah, because
So,
he was dying.
I felt safe enough to turn it back over. It wasn't happening anymore.
You went back to the video and the couch,
I did, yes.
and we saw the second video,
Yes,
the 22-second, and he's right side up again,
yes,
and you hear him say, Sarah?
yes.
Had you left enough room for him to get out? Zipper to zipper.
Yes, that's how his hand was trying.
That suitcase has two zippers, doesn't it? And they meet at various places along the line?
Correct.
How much room, when you flipped it over, how much room was between zipper to zipper?
I don't know specifically. I mean, it was enough to where his hand was coming out.
After you had hit him with the bat, was he not trying to get out anymore?
No.
You notice how Owen says, hit him with the bat, and she says, poke. And I really can't do with his little, I know we had to, and it's, I saw that he retracted his hand, and so I felt safe, yeah, because he was suffocating. Oh my gosh. And I realized that it would be a good thing because, this is just me talking, I won't have to listen to his fractious music anymore. Oh my God. I hope this doesn't last much longer.
Did you believe that he could breathe in there?
Yes.
Did you ever believe he could die in there?
No.
He said he couldn't breathe.
Were you trying to kill him?
Never.
Did you
Please.
want to kill him?
I did not.
Oh my gosh. He was begging you. He couldn't breathe. He said he
Did you
couldn't
walk
breathe.
upstairs?
I did, yes.
Why didn't you let him out before you walked upstairs? Were you afraid?
Terrified is more of the word.
No. If you were terrified,
As long as he was in the suitcase, he couldn't harm you.
because he was expired. So you go up to bed and you're terrified. Okay. Sure.
Did you want him to calm down?
Yes, I wanted him to stop being angry because I know what it is for him to be angry.
You went upstairs. Where were the dogs?
The dogs ran upstairs with me.
Okay, I'm kind of getting annoyed with Mr. Owens. He's like he's talking too much. I think I know why, though. He's probably afraid she's going to say something wrong. That's probably why he's doing it. But it's like, just shut up for a minute. Really, I just need them both to shut up. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, no, now we've got to go to the dogs. Penny and whoever the other one's name is. I forget. Oh, no. I have it written down.
And where did they go?
I'm on the bed.
Did you have the phone with you?
Yes,
I know at some point you called your husband Brian, did you not?
I did.
Do you recall how long that conversation was?
Not very long.
Can you recall what was said?
I don't remember exactly. No, I don't.
Miss Boone, Sarah Boone, you said that when he was in the suitcase, he was threatening her, threatening you. Can you tell the jury what he was saying?
I don't know. Am I allowed to curse?
Oh, come on. Oh, look at that. After you're saying, F you. You think you better shut the F up. Oh, my gosh. She's acting so pure. Oh, the other dog's name is Tess. Tess is deaf, and Penny is blind. And I hope they probably aren't with us anymore. But I hope they got good homes after this.
Yes.
That he was going to fucking end me, and that's what made me ask him please to stop doing what he's doing to me. That he was going to, I'm guessing, try his best that night to probably take my life.
But what? The threat you heard was he's
going to
say
Say it.
the word.
end me.
Excuse me?
Fucking end me.
End you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I don't see any emotion. I don't see remorse. She's not.
Just go ahead and approach your bench.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. If she looks over and smiles again, I might just lose it. Don't look over and smile. I'm going to lose it, lady. Or as Mr. Owens would say, the female. The females. Ugh.
All right, members of the jury, it is 2:14. I have a matter that I have to discuss with counsel at this point in time outside of your presence. So I'm going to ask you to retire to the deliberation room. We'll bring you back in as promptly as possible. Again, similar instruction that I've given you. Please do not conduct any independent investigation or research as the person, places, things, or charge involved, and do not have any discussions amongst yourselves or anyone else about those things. We'll bring you back in as promptly as possible. Thank you. Y'all may be seated. Thank you. State, you can proceed with any argument at this point in time.
Judge, I believe that's pretty close to what we already knew from the deposition testimony, from the doctors relaying what she said for the proffer. What we have here is testimony from the defendant. Her timeline is she comes downstairs after having gone up to the shower and hiding, laying down, after being declared to be it. She comes back downstairs, and before she gets back to the bottom of the stairwell, she can see that the victim is in the suitcase trying to get flat because the lid is flopping, and he's not hidden just yet. And so she comes over, and I believe she testified she was moving it around before actually zipping the lid shut, but moving it around, everybody's laughing, it's all fun and games still, and then she zips it, and it's still fun and games, and everybody's laughing, and then at this point she testifies that this is now her opportunity to get on her pulpit to express her true feelings about everything, and that's when she sits down on the couch and opens up her phone device and begins recording what later turns out to be IMG _1062.movie at 11:12:45 for 2 minutes and 3 seconds. During this period of time, the decedent is expressing meekly that he can't breathe. The only time he ever curses at her is, Sarah, I can't fucking breathe. Babe, I can't fucking breathe. He is demonstrating under the law that he is in fear of losing his life. She has committed an aggravated assault. She has committed false imprisonment. She was the initial aggressor. There was no overt act to justify these actions that she took against her boyfriend. She then goes on to say that during this period of time between the end of the movie at 11:14:48 seconds and before the next one starts at 11:23, that it's now at this time, while he's still constrained and clearly unable to get out under his own power despite having his hand out, she begins beating him with a bat, poking his hands, poking the suitcase with a deadly weapon. A bat is used for baseball, but it can also be used to harm another person, and according to the medical examiner's testimony, there was great harm caused to him, deep ecchymosis bruises. She can't start to do this out of fear, like the analogy I gave earlier. If I pull a gun to rob you, Judge, and you pull a gun, I can't shoot you in self-defense. She started this. She started this. There was no overt act, and therefore we're asking for you to prevent, under the case law, any prior instances of violence, any reputation evidence, and any battered spouse syndrome evidence, because that's simply just what the case ended up being. Thank you.
Response.
Oh, God, here we go. Come on, Mr. Owens.
Judge, this was a game by two intoxicated people. When people are drunk and intoxicated, they do silly and stupid things. The evidence is uncontroverted that Jorge Torres willingly, by his own choice, elected to hide in the suitcase. By their interaction between the two of them, giggling and laughing at each other, he consented to her zipping up the suitcase. And the playful nature of what was going on during those few minutes prior to the video. When the video is turned on, there's a 2-minute period where they're talking. He's saying, I need to get out, I can't breathe. She's not taking him seriously. As you've seen from the videos, I thought it was the boy crying wolf. She did not appreciate the fact that he could be actually having trouble breathing. And this was a chance for him to be heard by her about how she felt about some things involving their relationship. A short time later, the video was turned off, and then that period has been testified to by my client. And that period is uncontroverted. That's a second period of time. We've got that time with the video. We got the 11 minutes. We got the 22 seconds. And there's no video, there's no audio, there's no eyewitness, there's nothing but Sarah Boone's testimony. And she's testified here today that they had words, there were threats, he got his hand out of the suitcase. She knew by the threats and him getting his hand out of the suitcase that he was about to get out of the suitcase and he was going to hurt her. A reasonable person under that scenario would believe she was about to be harmed. She was an imminent threat of harm. She blocked that attack by grabbing the bat, hitting his hand. When that didn't work, she started poking him with the bat in the suitcase. Eventually, she poked him several times. He put his hand inside the suitcase. She put the bat up. When she realized he was not going to do that any further, she flipped him over right side up. She still had a fear, knowing that if he got out, she would be harmed. He would beat her up. She went upstairs. That is an overt act based on the discussions, coupled with the fact that he threatened her, using the word, I'm going to fucking end it for you, or some words to that effect. I don't remember her exact words, just before she went upstairs while he was still in the suitcase. If she would have let him out, and this is a crime, now this is an event involving an omission, failure to act, failure to unzip him at that point, before she went upstairs. The failure to act, the failure to unzip, which would have let him out, which would have created a situation that she believed was imminent bodily harm to herself. And I guess I'd get a couple of examples. Let's say that a police officer is called to a scene and the only thing he hears is there is a suspect and the suspect may be armed. So of course the officer pulls out his revolver and he's walking around. Well, then eventually he finds the suspect and the suspect reaches for his waist. The officer doesn't see the gun, but the officer sees the movement to the waist. The officer fires and shoots the suspect. The officer is justified because there's an immediate threat of harm. The officer has to react instinctively. There's no time to think. Similar to the actions that Sarah Boone had to take. Another example, you're in a bar with your buddies and you've had something to drink and another group has had something to drink and one of your buddies gets into an argument with one of the buddies on the other party. And one of your friends, seeing that it's being escalated and the guy that's arguing with your buddy is aggressive, more aggressive than your buddy is. Your buddy's trying to settle the thing, but this other individual, maybe he's had too much to drink and he's more aggressive. So you go around behind this individual, and before he's able to strike your buddy, you grab him. You lock him up. That's physical restraint to block an attack. Or you
From a
grab him by the
suitcase.
neck and you choke him. Physical restraint to block an attack. That's what she was doing with the suitcase. If she let him out of the suitcase, she was going to be harmed. Based on him trying to get out with his hand, based on the threats he made while he had his hand out, and based on the threats he made while he had his hand inside just before she went upstairs. Thank you.
Thank you. Court's going to review all the case law that it's obtained in its research in this matter and come back with a oral ruling momentarily. Thank you.
Oh. I know the defense ends up getting it. Oh my goodness, look at Miss Sarah. She loves this. Please don't smile, because I'm gonna lose it.
All right, we're back on the record. State of Florida versus Sarah Boone, case number 2020 CF 2603. Appearances for the state.
Chief Catastrophe on behalf of the state. We engage the state.
Defense.
James Owens from this movie.
Connie Henderson from Sarah Boone.
Kevin Beck of Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone is currently seated at counsel's table, wearing the same clothing from this morning. The court has the opportunity to review the case law, review the arguments provided by both the state and the defense. The court finds that a overt act has been established. The case law is clear that a scintilla of the providing of an overt act is sufficient to provide the self-defense jury instruction. An overt act is not something that's specifically defined in Florida case law. It's something that's from the totality of the circumstances, seemingly under the authorities that the court has reviewed. As such, the court is going to find that under Holland, a overt act has been established and will allow the defense to proceed with evidence of reputation.
Oh man, I'm not gonna be able to stand it if I see Sarah looking all smug. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, if he's following the law, and I do like this Judge Koenig, very much, and if it will prevent any appellate issues, then let's just go for it, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go.
And specific instances of conduct and battered spouse evidence, so long as the necessary predicates are established for those items. Any questions or clarifications with regard to the court's order state? Defense.
I think it would help if we went through my exhibits involving the blow-up photographs and these other photographs, because I think some of it was contingent on the court's ruling.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Owens, don't take up any more time.
Try to deal with all of them one at a time in front of the jury, or whether we want to just talk about them ahead of time so that we know.
Are there any objections to those items?
It depends on the items. I was shown a lot of different things, including like a rap sheet between the victim and the defendant. So
I've taken that.
we need to. I'm happy to take care of some of this stuff in advance.
So I'd rather do it now,
Yes.
so that it's not up, down, in and out with the jury.
So
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Owens. What do we got?
Well, I had the clerk go ahead and mark everything. Some of it is a composite. Is this it here? First is identification, defense identification K. It's 4 pictures involving injuries to the leg.
Mr. Owens left what?
The leg.
assuming a predicate for fair and accurate depiction is laid, we don't have any objections to pay.
Okay.
Identification, defense identification, composite L, 2 photographs of a burn to her leg.
You said that was L, correct?
Yes.
Again, assuming proper testimony that the decedent was responsible for that in a criminal manner and fair and accurate depiction, we have no objection to this.
Okay.
Defense exhibit M, First one is a photograph of the back porch. Sarah's on the back porch with her 2 dogs.
Oh, here we go, the dogs.
The
Poor
next
dogs.
photograph is a picture of one of the dogs on one of the outdoor couches. Because relevance is that he would threaten the dogs with harm if she didn't comply with his directives, and he actually harmed the dogs, kicked the dogs,
Dogs.
as a threat to her. So, in order to do what he wanted, he used the dogs.
Oh my God, did you see that smile? I can't.
She was in fear for their safety, so she will testify about this threat.
Relevancy objection is overruled.
Defense identification number N, or letter N. One photograph. It's a photograph of the living area, but also the stairs, and it shows that one of the allegations by the state is that the defendant.
Okay, no objection.
No objection to, assuming all the normal practice.
Judge, this is where he took a bath. It's 5 photographs where he took a bath to the TV, to Sarah's TV.
My understanding is this O? This is still O, correct?
Yes.
My understanding from the state is there's no objection so long as the foundation's established.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We also intend to introduce the video. There's a short video on
It's on State's Exhibit 2. We're not objecting to that as long as the foundation.
No objection so long as foundation is established.
P, identification, defense identification P. It's 2 photographs of an incident in which
No objection as long as foundation's laid. Is that correct?
Mr. J is like, shut up
objection, so long
talking,
as
Mr.
appropriate
Owens.
predicate
Let's
is
just get this on the road. Get the show on the road again.
Now, these next ones are individual photographs, not composites. But Q for identification is 1 photograph.
Is that part of the right stuff that we already done?
I was told this was separate from the burn. This was, I think, a slap or something that came to the letter, not the burn.
No objection to foundation laid.
With regard to Q, no objection so long as the appropriate foundation is laid.
Identification R.
No objection as long as foundation laid.
No objection to R so long as foundation is laid.
S.
Same for S.
For identification.
With regard to S, no objection so long as foundation is laid.
Same for T.
T.
No objection by the state so long as appropriate foundation is laid.
Same for U.
No objection from the state so long as appropriate foundation is laid for E. Same for V.
Same for W.
W.
Same for X.
X.
Same for Y.
Y.
Look at Mr. J going, how many people does it take to defend Sarah?
It's one of the other. Oh, go ahead.
A. Identification for A.
Were these the ones that we addressed pre-trial?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem with that being demonstrative aid.
Okay.
In terms of introducing this as an exhibit into evidence.
She just can't be quiet, can she? Oh my
Is it
gosh.
contained in K through Y?
Yes.
I've asked this before, I think, in one of my
Is that
videos.
accurate?
But let's say she got out. Where's she going to go?
I mean, I know the clerk.
She doesn't have money.
Blow up, but
She did before. I know George had a job, but
easier to handle the clerk to handle the 8.5 by 11.
as far as
If it's, allow you to use it for demonstrative purposes, but I'm not going to accept it into evidence as it is duplicative. What's already in evidence is X. Defense pre-marked X.
And then, identification C.
Same thing, it's what they addressed.
I was going to say, you know,
It
if
was one
Brian
of the
isn't
earlier
paying
ones
her
we addressed. Amber
alimony
and
anymore,
was the staircase.
how's she gonna live? Where's she gonna live? Who's gonna pay for her
Okay.
stuff?
For the same reasons, you can utilize it for
She may already
demonstrative purposes,
be
but
resolved, realizing she's
it's
gonna
duplicative as the exhibit itself will be entered into
be
evidence.
in jail or prison for the rest of her life. I kind of doubt that, though, because she
Same thing.
thinks she deserves everything.
Any disagreement that it's included in your pre-marked?
I agree.
Okay, then same ruling. It is duplicative. You can utilize it for demonstrative purposes.
Identification E.
Same thing.
Is it included, sir, in K through Y?
Yes.
Then for the same reasons it's duplicative, you can utilize it for demonstrative purposes only.
F. For identification.
Same thing.
It's included in your submittals?
Yes.
All right, same ruling. It's duplicative. You can utilize it for demonstrative purposes, but it will not be accepted into evidence.
Identification G.
Same thing.
Is it included in your submittals, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, for the same reasons, I find it's duplicative. You can utilize it for demonstrative purposes, but not seeking it into evidence.
H.
Same thing.
Yes.
Same ruling. You can use it for demonstrative purposes, but it will not be received into evidence by virtue of it being duplicative.
Identification I.
Same as T.
Any disagreement with that, sir?
No, sir.
Same ruling. If my court finds it's duplicative, you can utilize it for demonstrative purposes.
Identification. Madam Clerk.
Hang on. Is that the house?
It's either Delta or B.
I think that's Bravo. Is it the defendant on the porch with the two dogs?
Yes.
That was pre-marked before trial as Bravo.
That'll be.
That's a big
Same.
Same.
It was as defense M. Relevancy objection is overruled, but I'm not going to allow the enlargement as it's duplicative, as the native photo is in evidence. But you can use it for demonstrative
Yeah, I
purposes.
probably want to use these in closing and just use this, use that for the.
However you see fit, sir.
Okay.
Yeah,
This is
you
all-
see, he kind of talks a lot
Can't
like
speak to that. I
Sarah.
don't know that anybody today has utilized it.
I know-
But that's not connected to the overhead. That's separate and apart from the overhead.
Okay, oh, okay. Judge, what other evidence do we have? Body cams?
Oh my goodness, Mr. Owens, get your stuff together.
Nothing else. Nothing else through Sarah. There may be some body cam footage to refresh memories. We've got two deputies out there.
Okay.
Uh,
Any other exhibits with regard to Ms. Boone at this point in time, Mr. Owens?
no, sir.
State any reason why we cannot ask Ms. Owens or Mr. Owens to continue his inquiry of Ms. Boone and have her return to the witness stand. All right. Mr. Owens, anything else we need to discuss, sir?
One moment.
Sure.
Oh gosh, come on, Mr. Owens, get with it.
Judge, I think we're ready.
Okay. If we can bring Ms. Boone back up to the witness stand. Once she is seated, we can bring back in our panel. Let's go ahead and stand and
Oh,
bring
she's
back in
gonna
our
have her
panel.
water, bless her heart. I mean, I can't begrudge her of that, I guess.
State, do you recognize our jury?
Yes, sir.
Defense, do you recognize our jury?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All can be seated. Members of the jury, again, if you could, once seated, raise your hands to confirm that you complied with the court's instructions during our last break. Record reflect all hands have been raised. Mr. Owens, you may continue with your inquiry, sir.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Boone, so I think we left off. You had called your ex-husband.
Yes.
All right. After you called your ex-husband, what happened after that?
I ended up falling asleep.
Okay. Do you remember waking up the next morning?
Yes.
Did you sleep in?
Not intentionally.
Okay.
Oh, there's that word, not
You didn't get up at
intentionally.
8 o'clock, did you?
No.
Did you wake up closer to noon?
I believe so, yes.
Did you check the time?
No.
Now, did you hear your phone ringing?
Yes, my phone.
And did you answer it right away?
No.
Do you know approximately how many times it rang before you answered it?
I believe the call was about 3 times.
Did you know who was calling?
I figured it was my ex-husband.
And why would he be calling?
To make sure that I was still on schedule to pick up our son.
At 3 that afternoon?
Correct.
And he goes to school there close by?
Yes.
All right. When you woke up, did you stay in bed for a while?
For a little while, yes.
All right, tell the jury what happened when you got up.
I knew it was my ex-husband calling repeatedly. I didn't answer right away because one of our problems is that he doesn't understand that I'm doing things around the apartment and looking for jobs and so on and so forth.
What? Are you kidding me? I've never heard her talk about looking for a job. I guess George did have a job and was looking, but so on and so forth. I have things. This is about your son, lady, or the female. This is about your son. Oh my gosh. I wonder if they'll bring Brian Boone back for the rebuttal witness, or do they have? I wonder what they're going to have in mind. But I can't with her. My life, me, I. Oh my gosh. And and then the man comes down. Oh yeah, she's going to complain about it, but he comes down after she calls her and after she calls him and tells him about George. And yet, again, she's acting like she's being inconvenienced. Oh my goodness.
So I inevitably just let it ring, and I laid in the bed, and I figured that George was downstairs either drinking or looking for jobs, or may have just left. And so eventually I decided to get out of the bed and start moving to go downstairs. I was motivated enough to go downstairs, and when I went downstairs, it was very quiet. So I had the understanding, I believed that he had left. And
did you check to see if where would he be looking for a job at?
Usually on the couch, he would have my son's laptop, and he and I, which we would share.
Y'all only have the son's laptop?
Correct.
And the TV was not working at this time?
The TV was not there.
Okay. So you thought he would be in the living room on the laptop?
Yes.
He was not there?
No.
Where else did you look for him?
I looked on the back porch. I went through the front door to see if my car was there, thinking maybe he had taken my car. I checked the bathroom, and when I was checking the bathroom, I saw the suitcase, and I remembered about the night prior, and I unzipped the suitcase and...
Let me stop you there. You said you were in the bathroom when you saw the suitcase, or coming out of the bathroom?
No, where our bathroom is, I would have to go to the bathroom here, and then when I turned around, I noticed the suitcase, and I remembered.
How did you feel when you saw the suitcase?
I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that before.
Describe it for the jury.
I
guess
haven't
it was-
experienced anything like that before. No, I guess you haven't, but it sounds like, again, it's all about her. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
I was aghast, and
Aghast.
I just can't describe the feeling.
Bless you.
It was terror to
Bless you.
a certain degree.
I'm sorry, say that again now.
It was terror to a certain degree. I just can't describe it in words. The
No
feeling
grief? You were grief stricken?
of remembering. And then he was still in there.
So what did you do?
I immediately unzipped the suitcase, and I was screaming, George, 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 and I was shaking him, and I pulled him out, and I stretched him out flat, and then I began instantly trying to do CPR, and then was trying to look for a pulse or a breath or just anything, and was just screaming his name over and over and over again, and come on, George, and I continued CPR, and I continued CPR, and he was gurgling, and
What color was it?
What color
God.
was he?
Purple.
Yes.
There we go again.
he was purple.
Gurgling.
At some point, did you call your ex-husband?
Yes, when he started to gurgle, and I knew that my ex-husband is notorious for bringing my son over in very inopportune times when
Wow.
George is possibly drunk or doing things
Oh, and that's Brian's fault?
not appropriate for my son to see. And I just didn't know what to do. It was just a quick knee-jerk reaction. Brian was kind of my go-to person because of my family being deceased.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
gonna
have anyone
talk
else
to him like
that I
that,
can
huh?
call. And I just wanted to ensure that he would not bring my son over in the process of all of this at some point.
So you called him.
I called him.
Did you ask him what to do? Or did you just tell him to come over?
I just told him to come over.
Did you tell him that you felt like George was dead?
Yes, I did.
And how far? You said it's 5 minutes from house to house?
Yes.
Did you call him back?
Yes, because he was taking so long. It felt seconds were hours. Yes. I'm still doing CPR at the same time in the process of it. I'm doing CPR I don't know how many times.
Did he get there?
Yes.
Did he walk in?
Yes.
Did he walk out?
Yes.
What did he tell you to do?
Call 911.
What did you do?
I called 911.
Is that the recording we've heard here in this trial?
Yes.
Did you love George?
To this day.
Why did you love him?
George was very passionate. George was a very real person. George was nice to me on the good days. George complimented me. George and I were two bodies with one soul, he and I would always say. I don't believe that I I've ever had a connection with anyone like I have with George.
Did you have that connection with your ex-husband?
I did not.
Was it even close?
No.
George has some good traits, doesn't he?
Very much.
Did George have some bad traits?
He did.
Did you drink too much?
I did.
Did George drink too much?
Yes.
Tell the jury about George's drinking.
If George was able to, he would drink from sunup to sundown. And me having my son and trying to work and maintain the home and just have a life, a normal life as best as I could, somehow that upset George. And because I had a certain dollar amount from my divorce settlement, at one point it was from wine we could afford vodka, so a lot of the times he would take my card, my debit card, and go buy the large, we call them handles, of vodka, which is the big bottle. And sometimes he would finish that all off on his own throughout an entire period of a day into an evening. That's honestly where I thought that he was going to be that morning when I came downstairs, because he's notorious for just automatically already being outside from drinking all the time.
And you said you have an alcohol problem. George has an alcohol problem.
Yes.
How did George's drinking adversely affect you?
It would debilitate my ability to help him the way that I was always trying to help him, because it would be one good day, a day of survival, and then it would be another day where I'm having to peel him off of me and call 911.
Why would he get that way? Tell us his pattern as it relates to drinking and then...
Object.
Approach.